my real estate business started taking off. Touched my first 6 figures in the first 6 months, and then never looked back from that. I couldn't do a lot of things I wanted to do because of finances. I had to stay put. And a lot of us women are staying put, whether it's relationships, whether it's jobs, whether it's driving the car that we have, like whatever it is, it's because of finance. I was like, what can I do? So again, built a team of over 100 women, broke some records in Ontario in the financial sector, started building out that business. And just changed like hundreds of families' lives, got them, well educated, and even brought them into positions to make money too, right? Yeah. Getting them onto the team, because there's so many different dynamics. Sometimes you're dealing with a divorcing couple. I've had that so many times, and they're not even talking. And how are you supposed to get the deal done? I want them to be like, I want to change the world. I want everyone to want to change the world. That should be your goal. That's my goal. I want to change the world.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to another episode of 3 Questions with Corey Kareem, the podcast show where we sit down with some amazing people who are doing some amazing things. But rather than just talk about their wins and their successes, we tend to start the conversation around their failures, their setbacks, their trials and tribulations. So with that being said, my guest today isn't just helping people buy homes. She's helping them understand how real estate can become a tool for financial freedom. She's an author. She's a multi-award winning realtor, certified negotiation expert. Get that deal, girl. And she's a team leader serving the greater Toronto area. Through education, advocacy, and her own personal story of resilience, which we're going to hear more about later on, she's committed to helping everyday people navigate the market and protect their money and build lasting wealth. So, without further ado, the Sasha Vela, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
Yes. So I know I kind of gave you a little bit of a lightweight intro. You got a lot of accolades. I could have went on for about another minute or so. Is there anything that you'd like to add to that introduction?
I'm a servant and a child of God, daughter of the Most High. I'm a mother of 2. I think you nailed the most of it. I'm so humble, and I'm just blessed to be used. God has chosen me, and I feel chosen, and I think it's a blessing. And I'm just trying to put my best foot forward and serve the community the best way I can.
I love that. I love the humble part too, because I think it would be easy for someone like you to not be so humble,
and then it would be easier to hate me, I think.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? I just don't feel worthy of the glory. It's not mine. That's all.
So, everyone that I know that knows you, Sasha, says the same thing, that you have this incredible, amazing rise to success, the story talking about going through different trials and tribulations. So for myself and my audience, those listening and watching, tell us a bit about that story and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know how much time we have, but so I was born in Scarborough. My mother was an addict, so she was, battling addictions. I have a couple of different siblings as well. During that time, I was in and out of foster care, in and out of her care, on and off the streets as a young child. Before I was permanently placed in foster care, in property of Crown Ward. All of my siblings had fathers to go to, whereas mine died in jail when I was young. Wow. So I didn't have the father to go to, or the other household, the other half. So I was placed in foster care. I was adopted by a beautiful family, and where I have adopted siblings as well. Grew up, I was the only Black child in the family, black person in the family. My dad's Maltese, my mom is Canadian, my sister's Korean, and then my two brothers are, they're biological to my parents.
Got you.
So we grew up, I moved out of the city in a smaller town, a lot of racism. I think I was like one of the only black kids at the school, let alone girls, like black girls. You know, so I dealt with a lot of intentional and unintentional racism, and just growing up very different, you know, very different. I was very close with my parents, and particularly my father. So he embedded a lot of confidence in me. He really nurtured my gift of gab. He really made sure I felt loved and special. And, you know, I think you could feel different in a bad way, or you could feel different in a good way, right? You can be better or bitter from that. And I decided to take the high road. I was definitely a confident, resilient, bold, outspoken girl, which I took a lot of those characteristics, and they are who I am today. In my household, I was loved for those things, but outside of my household, I was hated for those things.
Gotcha.
And it's funny because I tell even my daughter and a lot of young adolescents now, you know, a lot of the things that you're going to be hated on for are going to be your greatest achievements, characteristics, traits. I was told I talk too much. I'm getting paid to talk now. I was told, you know, you're too loud. You're too bossy. But now I'm a leader, right? So it's about being in the right environment, right? And your environment doesn't have to. It's not your destiny, but it's going to influence you, right?
Right. On that note, when you're talking about depends on your environment, it made me think of, so similar to you, growing up, some would call me stubborn, but stubbornness cultivated in the right environment is persistence.
There you go.
Right? So I could relate to that.
Yeah, for sure. And it's all about like how you flip it and how you do it, right?
Yeah.
And how you see it, because those words could have stopped me in my tracks.
Of course.
Oh, you're too bossy. Oh, I need to be more quiet.
Yeah.
Oh, like, you know what I mean? I use my voice. I've grown into that, right? So fast forward, always was playing soccer. Soccer got me through high school. I wasn't a very book smart girl, I would say. I skipped a lot of school. And I kind of just cruised by. Made it. Went out of high school. I got into journalism broadcast. I wanted to be on TV. And it's funny because not a lot of people know this, but I am on HGTV now. A lot of people know that. I do a lot of social media. I love the camera. Camera loves me. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But I did a lot of practicing when I was young, like for fun. I would pretend to be on TV. I would pretend to do commercials. I would pretend to sell stuff. I would pretend to do all these things. So I say that to say if you know, if you're still looking to see what your purpose is, sometimes it lies in like the little things you do as a child. Sometimes it lies in the little enjoyments that you grew up, you know what I mean? But it's up to you to kind of form and you know, turn that into your livelihood, right? So
I agree with that. It makes me think of like, so I grew up as an only child.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I have a half brother and half sister, which, by the way, I just met last year because my dad lives in London, UK. And so I grew up as an only child. So a lot of times, I say this now without feeling any type of embarrassment, I used to talk to myself. I used to talk to the wall.
Yeah.
Right? Because as a kid, I'm sure you understand, you have a lot of imagination and whatever. So I just used to just talk. And so I could totally relate to you saying, like, you know, a lot of the things that you can do as a child can end up being your superpower, right?
Exactly. And I'm so happy that you said something that like you can say it without embarrassment, because we grow up, like, I feel like isolated to our own experience. This is all we know. When I share my story, which there's a lot more to share, it's all I know. So people are like jaw dropping, like, oh my goodness, that happened to you? Like you were found on the floor eating nail polish before CAS took you away? Like I tell these stories and people are like, right? But it's my norm.
Right.
Right.
It's a baseline.
And it's come to a point, and for the longest time, there was embarrassment. It was, I'm adopted, I'm Black, I'm the only one, right? But then it became like there was a turning point at some point where it was like, you own that. You own your struggles. You own what made you different. You own those stories. Like, you know, it probably wasn't easy to say you talk to yourself, right? It wasn't easy for me to say a lot of the things. But when I became more vulnerable, literally, which was only a couple more years ago, is when it was one of the 2 times. The other time was giving my life to Christ. Those 2 times were pivotal, like life-changing moments in my life.
Right.
And that's when I could look back and help others, because I'm not this perfect person I was not necessarily trying to be, but avoiding showing the scratches. I was trying to I was just
of course
coming off as perfect.
So there's 2 things I want to address there, because you're saying so much good stuff right now. So it's interesting you said, like, you know, when I said I'm not embarrassed to share that anymore. There are things that I still hesitate to share with people personally. It's like, so for myself, I grew up in a single parent household. I have like your traditional young black kid story, and I try not to lead with that just because it's such a stereotype, right? So when I'm in my day-to-day, people would never know that about me unless they get into an environment or a space like that, just because I don't want to perpetuate a certain stereotype and let people, you know, think that this is like the common thing for the black folks. So those things I still wrestle with sharing like that, because I already know so many people might already assume that about someone like myself. You know what I'm saying?
No, I definitely know what you're saying, because even me, like, I think there's this like silent pressure that we have, even in our community. It's like to do better,
right,
to be better,
right,
to not be the stereotype,
yeah,
right? And full circle, for the longest moment, it was like, oh, I'm adopted. I don't know anyone adopted. And I saw that as like, I'm different. I don't know. But now it's become this thing where it definitely wasn't my ticket out. Like, it wasn't. But it's become a thing where instead of people looking at me like I'm sorry, it's like, please don't be, because it's a blessing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's allowed me, I don't want to say allowed, but it's a part of my story that makes me who I am. So, you know, I don't know. I get where you're coming from. But yeah, to circle back to my story, I like fast forward a bunch of years. I was in and out of a couple different programs, like college, university, whatever. Nothing really stuck. Then I thought about getting into real estate. I was working at a restaurant full time. And I thought about getting into real estate because I started to learn at the restaurant the power of commission, the power of service versus, you know, a commission. And I was like, because I forever felt unemployable. I had every single job. You name it, I had it. And I would always quit because I would get to the highest I could get.
Yeah.
And then it was like, you can't get any higher. I wasn't going to become a manager, or I was manager, sometimes supervisor, but I could never become the owner.
Right.
So it was like, and I always, didn't matter if I was flipping burgers or if I was folding clothes or if I was doing whatever I was doing, I was always doing it with my heart and my hustle. I was giving it 100. And I'm like, I'm not getting paid enough for this. And in a very humble way, not in a I'm too good for this, but in a way where it's like, I came in here 2 weeks ago and I'm the best employee on the floor. I learned everything I needed to learn. I've climbed to the highest step on the ladder possible. And then I started getting into serving. I started getting into bartending. And I started realizing, man, the more service I provide, the better I get paid. So then it was like, okay, it opened up this like, man, I could start owning like my money and I don't have to be on this hourly wage transactional pay.
Right.
So my dad told me forever you're going to be in sales. So just get into sales, whether it's cars or what it is. He's like, get into sales. So I got my real estate license, which in a whole was a lot to get for me. Because again, not very book smart, not very focused. So I got it. Again, whole story of its own. But I got my license. I didn't do a deal for the first couple of years. Just kind of sat on it. I think a lot of realtors can relate to that, or some. At the time I got my license in 2017, it was less of a graduate from high school, get your license type of thing that we're seeing now. Like we've glamorized it just in this last decade.
Yeah.
Whereas when I got my license, it was like always like second career, like third career. Like, oh, this didn't work out. I'm in my 40s. Let me get my real estate license. But I got it when I was in my 20s and didn't do anything with it. COVID hit, got fired from the restaurant I was working at. Back against the wall, didn't know what to do. I was like, let me take this license serious. At the time, I was with the children of my father. We were together for a very long time. He was getting let go of his position as well. So I was like, okay, I have this license that I'm paying thousands of dollars to keep a year and I don't do anything with it. Let me try something out right now.
Right.
World shut down, hopped on social media. Well, I was always on it, but got really embedded in getting in front of the people through socials. That worked out for me. I started realizing quickly that the community that I wanted to serve, which was predominantly the Black community, marginalized communities, we lacked the financial education, the credit, the down payment, the debt resolution to actually get into the market. I got my license because I wanted to get into real estate, but also because I wanted to change the trajectory and do what I could do to close that wealth gap. I'm going to say this. I have always been a woman of very big words. Yeah. I want to change the world. I'm going to change the world. I'm already changing the world. I say it. I speak it. I live it. I breathe it.
Yeah. And you have.
Thank you. And it's funny because I used to say it by accident. And then I'm like, no, it's not an accident. So I say big statements like that because I live up to them, because how you think is how you will show up.
I believe
so, got my license, realized that, man, there's a reason why we're 40% less likely to own real estate. There's a reason why, we're struggling to get into this. And I started researching more about redlining, researching more about, all the history and what was happening, the discrimination and whatnot, for our communities. But at the end of the day, I was like, okay, cool. What are we doing today? What are we doing now?
Right.
So I got a financial license, built a team of over 100 agents, predominantly women, because I believe that if we can, as women, if we know our financial literacy, we're natural nurturers. So if what I know, I'm going to pass on.
Yeah,
naturally.
Community build. You guys are great community builders.
You know what I mean?
Like, amazing.
Yeah. So I was like, let me target the women. Also because I was going through a breakup. Yeah. And it was like, I couldn't do a lot of things I wanted to do because of finances. I had to stay put. And a lot of us women are staying put, whether it's relationships, whether it's jobs, whether it's driving the car that we have, like whatever it is, it's because of finance. And we'll get deeper into it because it's really our relationship with money and how we were brought up. But I was like, what can I do? So again, built a team of over 100 women, broke some records in Ontario in the financial sector, started building out that business. And just changed like hundreds of families' lives, got them, well educated, and even brought them into positions to make money too, right? Yeah. Getting them onto the team. As I was doing that, my real estate business started taking off because obviously they go hand in hand. Touched my first 6 figures in the first 6 months, and then never looked back from that. At the same time, 2018, our son was born, and he was born deaf.
Oh, wow.
So we went through a lot of, over 100 appointments in the first year of his life, just figuring things out. And it was honestly, a lot of, it was 90% of me going to the appointments, but that's because that's our dynamic. Like as his mom, like I wanted, like, I'm just that mom. I'm like, his dad, like, it was just, traditionally, like I'm just that mom. So I'm like, I'm at all the appointments. And it was COVID. So only one parent could go. I'm getting so deep into the story. I don't want to, focus so much on it, but I'll tell you quick. He was born in 2018. And during the process of finding out if he was eligible for a cochlear implant surgery, which is essentially because he has bilateral hearing loss, is it's replacing the cochlea with an artificial cochlea. It's basically AI hearing. He's got like the best hearing there is. But in the process of doing the surgery, and I launched a whole business during that too. It's called Rep ASL. So it's for the community to learn Black ASL. Okay. And the eligibility process at Sick Kids for him to go through that surgery, he had to do a genetic testing. Now, anyone that does genetic testing, something will come up. It's just in our genetics, right?
Of course.
But it's whether it's important enough to focus on or not. And something had come up for him, and we had to do a little bit of a deeper dive into it. And it was kind of a genetic disorder, they call it, that has like a spectrum. Nothing could be wrong or something could be wrong. So one of the side effects was heart issues. So he already had his appointment booked for the cochlear implant surgery. Right. But they thought, let's just check out his heart first because God forbid,
Yeah.
we put him on the surgery board and
Of
something's wrong.
course. High risk. Yeah.
They checked out his heart. Again, COVID, so it's just me in there. And I'll never forget the doctors walking in, started drawing a heart on the whiteboard. And I'm like, oh my goodness, something's wrong. And it turned out that his aorta, so that's the big organ that comes out, like if you look at the heart emoji, was twisted backwards, which was causing pressure on his pulmonary gland to his left lung, which was it was not there.
Wow.
So it led to open heart surgery at the age of 2.
Jeez.
And this is the same time I'm winning awards back to back for my financial business. I'm winning awards in real estate because I'm like rookie of the year, like not rookie, but that year I was like top 3. The next year I was like top 4. And then I was top 2. Like it was just back to back. So at my brokerage. So a hard time to go through. And I think a lot of people can relate in terms of being so successful in an area of their life, but like their personal life is just like in shambles. And I don't want to say in shambles because, God was working it out, and thank God that because that was an incidental discovery. These are the type of discoveries that that unfortunately we see grown athletes like collapse on the court because
shows up later on in life.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, it was a time, and I think it's important to share. Like it was a big time for me to realize, like, I'm fighting for all this success and I'm going hard, but like nothing matters without my health and my family. So I was able to balance the two, and I think ever since then everything's been easy. Right. I'm not gonna lie.
So I mean, like, thank you for sharing that. But so I'm curious to know, because that's a lot to deal with. And I think maybe it's a little easier when you're having success while you're going through some hardship. But like, how did you manage the hardship side of it? Like, how did you get through that part of it?
Yeah, so a couple questions I would ask myself, and I still ask myself, it doesn't matter what issue I'm going through, like, who am I becoming because of this? Who do I get to become because of this? Who do I get to become? Like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Like, this is shitty. Yeah. This sucks. Who do I get to become? Knowing that, God is always working it out. And I said this to you on the call when we just had a brief call before we planned this. But I think everything I've gone through, God brought me through it to get me through it, to go through it, to help others. So when I reach back, I can help other people, and I know the way. So knowing that, God is always going to get me through this, like whatever I'm going through, He's got me. Yeah. So who do I get to help as well?
Gotcha.
And then during this time, it was like, I have a couple questions that that just came to my mind. And anytime I'm going through something, the easiest way for me to get through it is like being real and logical, real quick, real fast.
Yeah.
So like, you got to keep it logical before you get emotional, because that'll creep in like in 2 seconds. So for me, it was like, okay, my son is going to survive.
Right.
He is happy, because throughout all of this, he's happy. He's a happy little boy.
Yeah.
In my eyes, he's healthy.
Yeah.
He's healthy, and he's not in any pain.
Yeah.
So it was like, now in business, I'm like, okay, I'm going to survive.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm successful. I'm not in any pain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And sometimes the questions are, transferable. Sometimes you have to ask different questions like, is this going to be the end of this? You know, and if it is, what does that mean? You know what I mean? So I just try to get logical before those emotions creep in.
So I have a question about that, because everything you're saying makes perfect sense. But where did that self-coaching, if I will, where did that come from? Like, did that come from like your parents? Or like, did you learn that somewhere?
I don't know.
Because the reason why I asked that, and this is also tied to something else you said, like, you said it depends on how you look at it, right? You can make your story work against you, for you. I'm paraphrasing your words here, of course. Mm-hmm. It reminds me of, there's a program called Landmark. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but they dive into NLP, neuro-linguistics programming, and how do you talk to yourself. And one of the things they talked about in their introductory classes, they say everyone has a story. The word they use is a racket. Everyone runs a story in their head. Oh, the reason why I can't do this is because of X. The reason why I haven't gotten this far in life is because of X. And he was just telling our instructor was like, hey, you can decide to use your story to motivate you and inspire you, or you can have it work against you. So I'll give you an example for myself. I did that at like 29 because at the time, I don't know where I got this fear at the time when I was talking to really successful people. Whenever I had to present, pitch in front of really successful people who outranked me from a position standpoint, who out-earned me, I kind of get in my head, right? And so I went through this program. I did all the things, and everyone's like, look, you got up in front of people here that are from all walks of life, all successful, this and that, and you didn't break a sweat. And so it helped me to kind of like recognize the story for myself. And so when you talk about things you would say, questions you would ask, one of the things I say to myself is recognize the problem, but focus on the solution. I'll say it again like a mantra, and I repeat it over and over and over again. Another one that I use when I do get into a boardroom or people that outrank me, all the things, and let's say I'm a little bit anxious. Sometimes, not so much now, I'll go in the bathroom. I'll literally look myself in the mirror. I'll be like, Corey Kareem Roberts. I'll talk to myself. And I was like, there are people fighting in wars right now with bullets flying over their head. And you're telling me we're going into a boardroom here, bro. You're not going to die. You're not, you know what I'm saying? You're going to be fine. And so like, I could totally relate to you.
Yeah.
Say that.
For me, like my dad he looked at me young and he said, I'm going to teach you really important words. And he said, perspective. He's like, perspective is, so my dad's very like wise.
That's one
like,
of my favorite words, by the way.
Yeah. He's like, you have one conversation, he'll change your life. Like he's amazing.
Yeah. Shout out to Pops, by the way.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
And he's like, perspective. And I was like, dang. And then, so there's that. And then there's a couple things. Like I have this like undeniable belief, like y'all call it Delulu today, that I'm just gonna make it. And it also like, if anyone else can do it, and this is a message to anybody, if anyone else can do it, you can do it. Absolutely. And I always tell my daughter, I'm like, the day you see somebody flying, like that means you can fly. Yeah. The day you see somebody do anything, that means, and it's not that they have to do it first, but it just means that if anyone can do it, you can do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then the next thing is, I love that you talk to yourself. For me, I am literally only in competition with myself. And like those moments when I was on the floor crying, because I've been broke. I've been paycheck to paycheck. I've been owing, like I've been there where I owed Money Mart so much more money than like they're robbing me. You know what I mean? Like I've been like, it wasn't always good. You know what I mean? And I've been in debt, like all the things. And I've been wondering how I'm going to pay my rent, how I'm going to do, like I've been there, you know what I mean? So I don't come from a place where it's like, I always had it made and a handout was there. So I came from crying on the bathroom floor. I came from wondering how I'm going to feed my kids. I came from, or my daughter, or whatever. I came from, you know, really dark moments where it's like, I'm never going back. And I recognize the fight that it took for me to get out of those places. And a lot of it was mindset. Like the barriers are mental. The mental barriers are crazy. And I'm not turning back. So it's me versus me. So it's like, every year's got to look better. People ask me all the time, like, what are your goals? I'm like, to outdo me. Yeah. Literally, like I don't want to recognize me in 12 months. And I do an audit every quarter. I'm like, okay, like, what are we doing to improve? Like, who was that? And that's where the pressure comes for me. It's like, I'm like, people are like, HGTV, that's amazing. I'm like, so we shot HGTV in 2025 and it aired in 2026. Right. And as it's airing, I'm like,
what's next?
I'm like, why am I not on another TV? What? Everyone's like, this is amazing. I'm like, yeah, I know, but like, I should already be working on what's airing, you know? So that's something that I have to pause and really live in the moment more. But
of course, you're a high achiever. I get it. I'm the same way. Like, so talking about seeing is believing or seeing other people do it. So I'm training for the New York City Marathon right now. So I'm running 20, 30 kilometers a week.
So good.
And people are like, why? I was like, well, it sounds silly, but like 15 years ago, I think I saw Oprah run it. I was like, if Oprah can run 42 kilometers, 26 miles, I think, you know what I mean? I think I'll figure it out. You know, it might not be easy, but I think I'll figure it out. And so that was kind of like, and it's just become like a life. It's just become like a life bucket list goal for me. And it's like, the more you learn about at least running a full marathon, it's only 1% of the people in the world. So you end up being in this like exclusive club, and it just gives you something to talk about. And then it kind of reminds me of something I heard recently. A guy was saying, very successful business owners, like, hey, when you get in a room with like movers and shakers, people like yourself, have something interesting to talk about. Sometimes it's not all about business. And when you talk about running the New York City Marathon, people find that pretty interesting, right? Because it's a hard thing to do, and like it's New York, you know, so it's all the things. So definitely,
and that's
relate.
a mental barrier that you're gonna be like, yeah, I did that.
Yeah,
because look at all like. And that's the thing is, it's who do you get to become in the process of becoming?
That part.
It's like, okay, because I guarantee you, well, I can't guarantee, but I promise you, whatever.
Yeah.
For me anyway, when I set a goal, I'm way, like looking back, I'm way more proud of who I became in that process. And that's what God does to us. It's like in the process of stretching, of pruning, it's like, it's the becoming that's the lessons, right? And you're gonna learn so much about yourself as you reach 1 to, I'm sure you're doing well, but 5, oh, you didn't think you'd get to that 10. Now you're at that 10. Now you're at that 15. Now you're at that 20. And then when you run it, you're gonna be like, I did that, and that's amazing. You're gonna celebrate, but it's like all those milestones and all that journey of becoming and stretching.
1,000.
You know what I'm saying?
And one of the things about running too is you have so much time to yourself.
To think, it's something, honestly, I'm proud of you because it's something I've been like talking about for years.
Yeah, because when you're out there, especially on the longer runs, once you get over like 10K.
What are you at now?
So last Sunday, because I do my big runs on Sundays. So last Sunday I did 16.7. This Sunday is 18.
How long does it take you to get to that? Are you
16
coming from a running background?
No, I mean like I played sports, but like no. I was I did the running clubs. I did the 5Ks on my own. Like I did a 10K like 10 years ago.
Okay.
So I'm not a runner, but I've become one.
Good for you.
And I'm doing all the training. But yeah, so it's like when you're out there, the longer you are out there, once you get past 10K, you're starting for the average person, you're gonna be out there for over an hour. So my run last week took me, actual running time was an hour and 45 minutes to do 16.7K, right? And so that's a lot of time by yourself. Now I listen to music, and you're talking about the process. And one of the things that I've discovered about myself is I'm experimenting with kind of music. First, I was listening to like hip hop and high energy, and then I was like, nah, it was messing with my pacing.
Yeah. Oh.
Because I need to slow down. When you're training for your first marathon, your coach is gonna tell me, I'm working with a coach, just slow everything down. Just slow it down because it's a long distance, and it's a lot. It's a slow beat down on the body
a life
too.
Lesson right there. When you're running that marathon.
So now I listen to like R&B, soulful piano, like anything like calm, soothing, because the ideal state for a runner is when you're not thinking about running. You're thinking about all the things, everything else. And it's just like, oh, okay, I did 13. Oh, I'm at 15. And your mind is completely somewhere else.
It took time to get there.
Yeah.
To shut out the noise, shut off the world. And that's why I play soccer still to this day. It's not to keep in shape, like, benefit. But it's because when I'm on the field, it's so strategic. Similar to running, you have to do your thing. But with that sport, in that 90 minutes, I don't have to worry about what's for dinner. And I have to force myself to be on the field to not think about that stuff. I can't do it. I can't. I'm worrying about what's for dinner. I'm worrying about what I'm wearing tomorrow. Did I wash my hair? Are the kids fed? Like, what's going on here? Did I call that person back? Is the email replied? Do I have to tell you know what I mean? So it's such a good mental release. And I'm sure it took you time to get to that state. Like I am, jealous because I'm like, I want to be able to shut my brain off like that for an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
listen,
amazing.
I can't say I do it consistently. There's sometimes where I'm like, oh man, I still got 8K to go.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's always a work in progress. And I would say like every week I discover something new about my body. So for me, like I remember with my running coach, he's like, so what are your goals for this marathon? I said, honestly, cross the finish line, number one. Number two, not end up in a wheelchair when I'm coming back home, right? Because a lot of people, like, they totally mash up their bodies, right? And he said, okay, cool, we can work with that. But for me, man, it's just, listen, you talking about competing with yourself. That's all I do. I don't look at anybody else. I'm not concerned about time. It's all about just doing these little incremental steps, and also just going back about competing. There was a time when Instagram, bro, I didn't look at other people's profiles because I wasn't where I wanted to be.
Thank you for saying that. I'm so happy you said that. And sorry to cut you because
Yeah.
there's probably listeners that are like, okay, that's good for you, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But low key, like they want to get to that place. Like, you know what I mean? And it's a blessing to be at a place where I feel only I'm competing with myself.
Yeah.
But I also understand, and I am graceful to those that are still competing with me because like they have to overcome something greater than themselves.
Right.
It's an issue, you know what I mean? And I'm not gonna say it's an issue, you got mental problems or nothing like that. But I'm just saying, like, I'm happy that you said that because to be transparent, at one place you probably like it's hard not to. We have Facebook, we have Instagram. It's like we're continuously scrolling and comparing.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm happy you said that because I don't want people to be down on themselves. I want them to use that as something as like, you know what, I'm recognizing that I am competing with other people and I need to change that. So what did you do?
So for me, I actually, and to this day, I kind of low key practice that. I don't look at other people's profiles. So if I open up the app and you happen to show up on my feed, that's how I would come across your stuff. And that's what I deliberately practiced for a while. Not so much now, just because my mind would just go off into these different places and like, oh, I know I'm smarter than this person. How they did, like, you know, I know this person. How they did, like, you know, I would start doing all these things, and it just wasn't a healthy thing for me.
Right.
So I just had to kind of just focus on me, continue to do the things that I was doing. And I knew that, like, I always considered myself, I don't know if you know about the story of the Chinese bamboo tree, if you know about that analogy. I considered myself a Chinese bamboo tree. All my friends reached a level of success much earlier than I did. I was kind of like more or less the last of my crew to kind of have the breakout moment, so to speak. And I was kind of like, felt that, right? Seeing them having success and, you know, doing all these things. And I wasn't there yet. And I was like, why me? I was like, God, I did all the things. I avoided all the stereotypical situations. And I was like, why am I here? I'm even honest enough to say it. I haven't even said this publicly more than once, is that there was a time where I contemplated, you know, because I came back from New York. I was living my dream. You want to talk about manifesting? I manifested myself in New York, lived a great life there, was on a great path, but had to come home for personal reasons. And I remember going from living in an apartment in New York, having a view of the Empire State Building, although a very small one, then ending up on my mom's couch in a basement apartment at 27 years old, being like, WTF? Like, why am I here? What did I do? Like, and then my girlfriend breaking up with me in like 6 months, and I'm just like, man, I'm a bum. Like, I was just, it's just where I was, and it's actually the reason why I have the tattoo on my left arm. The key to success is massive failure, because I'm like, if I'm failing so much right now, then I guess success is around the corner, right? Yeah. So I've definitely been there.
Yeah, that's big. That's good. Yeah, you got to get the failures out the way. Fail forward.
Yeah, 100%. So let's pivot to real estate a little bit. For years, society has told us, you know, just buy a home, build equity, leverage the equity. Home is the greatest savings vehicle. It's the best investment, all the things, yada, yada, yada. But I'm sure you know this better than myself. In Toronto, wages haven't really kept up, right? So with that all being said, are we being kind of sold a dream on buying a home, or are some of us just not putting in the work, or being, you know, for lack of better words, being lazy about coming up with a strategy to become a homeowner?
Yeah, I think this is going to be weird, but I think both at the same time, both are true, but at the same time, neither are true. I think a lot of times we're creating kind of like a false debate. It shouldn't necessarily be, you know, if we're renting, we're throwing away our money and ownership has to be the way. I think we need to zoom out and look at, you know, what does 10 to 20 years look like for us? It's less about can you buy? It's more about what's your strategy? What's your plan? Like, you know, I think wealth at the end of the day should be everybody's goal, right? But we have to keep it real. So we live in Toronto. It's one of the least affordable housing markets in the world. So I have to be real, and I have to, you know, touch on that, because the reality is it seems, and it may be out of touch for many individuals or families at this moment, right?
Right.
I would never tell an individual or a family to purchase a property and they're suffocating every month. That would not be good advice. That would not make sense. When you're thinking about that when you're thinking of that 10, 20 year viewpoint, what are your goals and what is the plan? Because sometimes renting right now makes more sense and is more of a leverage for you to get to home ownership in the future, or to get to ownership, or to get to wealth in different ways. Renting might allow you to save more right now, knock down more debt right now, build your credit right now, as opposed to you buying today with, decent credit, a fair amount of savings and, poor debt. Right? Will you get approved? Can you afford it? Maybe, but is it going to alter your lifestyle? Is it going to alter, your happiness? Are you going to be suffocating every month? Can you afford it? Is there room or margin for life to happen? Because life will always happen, right? And that's a costly part of life.
Yeah.
Life is costly, okay?
Yeah.
So I think that the great debate shouldn't be, renting versus buying. I think it should be consumption versus ownership. And, when does that happen for you? And what does that look like for you? And what is your strategy? And it's opening up these conversations. Oftentimes, people will come to me and I'm like, okay, cool, let's set a plan. And we set a 2-3 year plan that could have been them buying this year if they talked to me 2-3 years ago.
Right.
Nobody ever regrets, with me anyway, buying property, because again, we're making sure you're ready. But at the same time, we've made sure, like I said, that they're ready and that it's a good and wise decision for their future. Something else I was gonna say is just crossed my mind when I was speaking. Anyway, we'll come back to it. But I think that's pretty much it. I think, again, it's about having plans and having conversations and knowing and understanding that time does cost you.
Right.
So this is what I was going to say. A lot of people are thinking, oh my goodness, the prices are ridiculous right now.
Yeah.
The prices are crazy. The interest rates, this, that, blah, blah, blah. But in 2030, you're going to wish you bought in 2026. You know what I mean? In 2029, you're going to wish you bought in 2025. You know what I mean? It's just going to keep growing. So it's also one of those things where it's like, do you get with it or do you get lost? Like, you know what I mean? There are creative ways to get into the market. It's long are the days of us, graduating high school, getting a full-time, going to college, university, getting a full-time job, buying that house. Like, it's like, did our parents even rent? Like, they just bought houses. Like, I don't understand. Or that generation anyway. So, it's about, yes, it's different. A lot of us are buying in our 40s, 50s. Yes, it's different. A lot of us don't have the wealth that's being passed on. Yes, it's different. We have to get creative in different ways. Yes, it's different. I don't want anyone to throw away ownership because they can't buy today. I want them to create plans for wealth. And I want them to create, even if it means, you putting your money away in a high earning interest type portfolio where you're earning something and your money is working for you. That is a way that we can raise the dollar cost average and fight inflation in your own, personal finances.
No, I'm glad you called that out, because that's exactly how I did it. And, that stat about a lot of people are now, because I think they said last year or 2 years ago, the now average age for first-time home buyers is about 39, 40, something like that.
Yeah.
I was in that category. I literally didn't buy my home until I was 39, 40.
Exactly.
Which was literally 2 years ago, right? So I fell in that bucket, and it's interesting. There was a point in my life where I didn't know how it felt so out of reach for me.
Yeah.
I didn't know how I get there, but when you keep doing the right things, and I don't want to say I caught my break. I think it was only a matter of time for me. Then all of a sudden I started to amass some good fortune for myself. But I do think that when it comes to affordability, I do feel like the younger generation does have a little bit of a challenge there, where I feel like Toronto may become a bit of like a New York, where people just accept renting is just going to be like your status quo, so to speak. Do you kind of feel the same way? Do you think that Toronto's headed in the same direction as in New York City, or?
In ways, I could see that. Yeah. I mean, it's hard because I'm just like in the depths of the U.S. versus Canadian market and dollar. It's just, I like can't compare it.
Yeah.
But I do see in terms of like a lifestyle, us leaning in that way. There's definitely a lot more people renting today and year over year.
Yeah.
And it does have to do directly with affordability, 100%.
Yeah.
And the fact that, like you had mentioned, our wages just aren't rising at the same rate, right? So how do you fight that, right? But on the flip side, we're seeing more entrepreneurs than ever. We're seeing more, creatives. Listen, someone came to me the end of like 6 months ago, beginning of this year, wanting to rent. They reached out on one of my listings that I had up for lease. And I'm asking her some questions. She's a YouTuber making like $80,000 a month. The only reason she can't buy is because she's 17.
Right.
I'm like, we could work this out. Like, let's make it, let's
crazy.
create a plan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I say that to say, like, I'm not going to make it seem like it's so easy, but people are making money. So there has been a shift.
Yeah.
And there's still like, and again, I'm being empathetic to the economy, and I get it and I understand. And hey, I'm even experiencing it. I get it. But there has been a rise in entrepreneurs, and there has been a rise in self-made money, like, that ownership part. So it's happening. One thing I'll also say is it's what we say to each other. Like, what are we, like, I guarantee you, take two circles of people, the circle that's saying, we're going to own, let's manifest. Let's take Saturday and go look at open houses. Let's look up these listings. Hey, look, I'm on realtor.ca right now. I don't got $1 in my account, but I'm looking and I'm manifesting.
Right.
Versus the group that's like, I don't got $1 in my account. I'm never going to look at realtor.ca. Why would I ever think about that? I'm renting forever. Let's go out on Friday night. Let's pop bottles. Let's do, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Somehow we're finding money to pop bottles. Somehow we're finding money to go out and eat.
Or going
Somehow
to
we're
Carnival.
finding money to do these things.
Yeah.
All these things that we're finding money for are raising.
Yeah.
Carnival, you just mentioned.
Yeah.
My girl's playing mass. She just told me the price that I'm like, I'm not on her about it.
Yeah,
she owns
yeah.
her property. She's good. But I'm like, the price, just inflation is everywhere. But we're finding, like, in our sleep, somehow we're finding ways to still go out to eat at the restaurant where the steak went from $60 to $75 to $80 to $90, and you're still there eating. Okay? You're still there eating. And I'm not a person that's going to tell you,
not to do this. And
in all of my years of financial coaching, I never told anyone how to spend their money. I never said, what to spend their money on. I never once said, spend your money here, do this, do that.
Yeah.
What I did is I focused on showing them what their life would look like if they spent their money differently.
I like that.
Because
I like that.
I'm never going to be the person, do this, do that. It's just with my kid, I got 2 kids to do that too. Okay, I'll be telling them what to do.
Yeah.
But even with them, I try to practice, like, make your own decisions.
Right.
Because if you can make those decisions today, like, think of, like, where you're going to take yourself in life, right?
Yeah.
I can't always be there to make those decisions for you. But if I can show you what it looks like when life looks like if you do that, right? So that's a lot of it. And so it's all about the tangible, right? Like, I'm sure when you bought your first property, you weren't just like, oh, today I'm going to buy. Like, it took time and preparation. And a lot of the times, like, when you take those 2 circles, like, which circle do you want to be a part of?
Yeah.
Like, do you want to be in the circle where you guys are talking, even with the $1 in your account, you're talking about, let's stay in this Saturday night and look at realtor.ca instead of going out and spend $90 on a steak?
Listen, you hit.
Sorry, one more thing I want to say is that saving that $90 won't get you to home ownership, but it'll help reframe your mindset, which will help open more doors to opportunities for you to attract, as opposed for you to sit there and just be like dead meat.
No, you hit on so many notes there, because let's talk about the environment, like the circle, the friendship, the people you have. What you said reminded me of that saying, which wolf are you feeding, right? And I'm fortunate enough, I have a men's group. It's 4 guys, 4 brothers. We get together like once a month. We're all in different industries. One's in real estate. One's in the health and wellness business, owns his own gym in Toronto. And the other one's an author, right? 4-time published author, to be exact. And we come together, we talk random things, but then we talk about, okay, what are our goals for this month? Okay, last month you said you was going to do this. How are you tracking to that? So we hold each other accountable. But I bring that up, Sasha, because I remember a couple of years ago when we met, one of them, the guy that's in real estate, he said something to me. He's like, Corey, your skill set in a different industry is raising capital. It's the same skill set, just on a higher level, right? And then he said to me on another meeting that we had, that money isn't meant to stay in one place. There's a reason why they call it currency. It's meant to be moved, right? And he's like, he's very successful. He's building vacation homes in Ghana right now. And he said to me that, he's like, I go broke at least 4 times a year. But that's because I'm moving money. I'm always leveling up. And that just changed my mindset about how I saw money. Because I was at this point where I was like starting to hoard it. I was like looking at my account and feeling happy and all the endorphins. I was like, look at all this money in this account. But I wasn't moving it. No. Right? So I totally related to what you just said.
Yeah. The more you can attach like money, I don't even see money as money. I see it as a vehicle.
Right.
And I tell people that, especially with credit cards, like don't ever think you get a credit card and you have more money. You have another vehicle to build wealth with, to build credit with, to build money, you know what I mean? To build with, right? And look at the access that you gained from being in that circle. Like that just added, right? And I think it's important because this will go over so many people's heads, but I love being in debt.
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? Because if the bank's going to give me certain money at a good rate and blah, 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 why would I not leverage that money? So many of my clients are like, I want to, the older ones, right?
Mattress money.
We could talk, no, that too. But they're like, I want to pay off my mortgage and be mortgage free.
Right.
I'm like, no, let's pay off the majority, you know, have a small mortgage, right? That you can carry each month. Take that money that you would have paid your property off with, do some private lending, get enough interest that not only does that pay off your monthly fee, but you also pocket some of that money. Now you're earning money off the money that you're lending because you took a small loan and you had more money to move.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, these are the conversations. Like, stay home on Saturday night and have these conversations. Stop going out for steak.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? Because then maybe you'd own a property in 5 years. But because people can't get it today or tomorrow, they're like, never. I'm like, no.
Yeah, no. And, you know, and it kind of brings up one of the other questions I wanted to ask you. Because I know in the Black community, I feel like we've become we're very big in hustle culture. Like, get that money was a very popular phrase at one point. But I'm wondering if you believe there's an overemphasis on just getting money versus building actual wealth, like long-term investing in our community.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think the hustle culture is connected to like the survival culture aspect, right? So I think a lot of families, we were like Black families, especially, we were raised in communities or in families or in households where it was like, let's survive, like how to survive. Like, you know, whether it be paycheck to paycheck, month to month, year to year, like we're surviving, like let's survive. And it was less about let's build, less about investments and building. And there's a big difference between income and wealth. And hustle is like bringing money in, income. Like let's bring the money in, let's hustle, let's get it, right? And one thing that I learned very early is quick money goes quick. When it comes quick, it goes quick. Like it's just, so then sometimes we don't have it coming in as much and then we hug it, right? Like you were talking about, it's like, so when you had said that, I said over the mic, I was like survival because it's like, I have all this money. No, I can't let my bank account like disperse. Like I need it. It's symbolic to my success and 100%. My hard work. Right. So I definitely think that's hurting us. And I think even conversations like this might strike a chord. Someone might be like, dang, yeah, like I want to build and I'm scared. Like, why am I scared? Right. I'll give you an example. I had this client and she was living in Toronto community housing. Okay. And she worked so hard. She did everything on paper right. Like, her taxes, everything. Like she was working really hard and she managed over X amount of time to save a really big amount of money. Okay, enough for her to get her down payment and move out. And it's so good to see that because a lot of the systems aren't built for that type of, you know, growth and to venture out and to build. It kind of is just like a circle, right? So she was able to build, she was able to save, she was able to be in a position and she's a mother of 3. So this is a big deal. Like, you know, we've been talking, we've been planning, we've been strategizing. It's beautiful. We're looking at properties probably for like 4 months. And it's like, she kept having an issue with each property. And I was like, okay, no problem. I've been here. You know, I'm experienced enough. Like, we got this. But I'm also experienced enough to find the perfect property that doesn't have the issues that you keep talking about. So what's going on? Right. So found a property. She bought the property. She put $25,000 down on this property, okay? Like as a deposit.
Yeah.
We're going through the inspection, perfect. We're going through the process, perfect. We're going through everything firms up. We're like weeks away from closing. And she calls me, or actually I'm calling her and she's not like picking up and she's not answering. And I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Finally, she calls me. We have just a super transparent conversation. And she says, I know I'm going to lose my $25,000, but I can't buy the house. I can't move out.
Interesting.
I can't leave. I can't do it. And in that moment, I realized that there's not just financial barriers in real estate, there's mental barriers.
1000%.
And she had so much certainty and security living in Toronto community housing because they can't kick you out. Like, you know, she's paying very low monthly rent. Yeah. It's like, it's a cycle, right? And she lost her $25,000.
She didn't go through with it.
She didn't go through with it. And it was probably like one of the saddest like scenarios for me because trust me, I've welcomed a lot of young women, men, families as the first to own real estate in their family. It happens all the time, but for me, because it's the community I serve.
Right.
And it's beautiful. And there's challenges that come with it because they hesitate. Is this the right thing? I didn't see my mom do this. Do I do this? Like, this is scary.
Yeah.
Now I own a house. I can't miss my mortgage. Like I could have missed the rent. You know what I mean? So exactly. No blueprint, no comfort zone, no, you know, woo, we're doing it. Right. But this time she could, and she's like a grown like woman and, you know, you would think like, and not to, you know, box her in, but you would think, you know, okay, you're moving your kids out. Like this is the moment. You work so hard. Like she had over 6 figures saved. And it's like, this is the time, right? So that hustle culture, and this is why financial literacy is so important. And these conversations are so important because it's not just about, you know, how to save. It's about, you know, your relationship with money. What's your relationship? Like, how did you grow up handling money? What were the conversations about money? Like, how do you view money? Is it intimidating? Is it, you know, because my thoughts are money is everywhere. It's a spiritual thing. Money is everywhere. Like, so I may wake up today and my account looks a little shaky, but I already know, like, I could wake up tomorrow and it could be, you know, and I don't advise that for everybody, but I worked my way to that mindset. But, and it's not because it fluctuates like that. It's just my mindset is that my mindset is just abundance, period.
Right.
But yeah, it was very hard to witness, very hard to see. And that's why we need to normalize these conversations. That's why we need to be talking more about financial literacy. And the most important part about that is we need to have those conversations before people get their first paycheck. Often we're talking about it to our kids after they're getting in jobs. We're talking about it to the athletes after they reach $1 million to $6-7 million, $20 million scholarships or whatever. Sponsorships or deals. And it's like, now we're talking financial literacy. That's why y'all go broke. Like, why are we not having these conversations earlier? No. Right? And it's pivotal. It's not necessary. It's pivotal and integral for the growth of our community and to close that wealth gap.
So that story you just, which I can't even believe she didn't go through with that I'm still stuck on that. But it kind of reminded me when my mom bought her first property. She might have been just hit 50 actually. And she kind of almost had a moment like that. She didn't get to the deposit part yet. They were doing a new development in Mississauga. And this is like 2016 or something like that. She was going to go through with it, but then like the fear of putting up that much money, which in retrospect to your point, wasn't that much when you look at it now. And then she ended up doing it like maybe 4 years later, but then she realized, man, if I would have just bought that in 2016 versus now, I could have had a bigger place, this and that. And so I saw my mom go through a bit of that herself. And again, I think it just comes from the fact of, at least in this country, no blueprint for her. So she was doing it as her first time. So I saw my mom a bit in that story you just shared.
Yeah. And it's tough. And it's like, that's why I don't take my job lightly. Like, because I know I'm helping people walk into home ownership. I'm helping them break generational curses. Like, this is ministry. You know what I mean? I don't take it light. Like, I'm helping you reshape not just your future, but like intergenerationally your last name. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So it's like, it's tough. Like I can't sit here and say, it was easy, and it definitely, obviously she succumbed to that, this particular example, but it's tough. Like there's mental barriers, and I see it. Like people don't understand like what it's like to be a realtor. Like I'm like,
no,
I'm here like, oh my goodness, therapy hat, like therapist
everything.
hat. Like,
listen,
but it also comes to a point where you're just like I couldn't say much. Like we had long conversations. I entangled the mortgage specialist that we were working with into the convos because he managed it very well in terms of, having a logical like financial conversation. Like you're going to lose this, even if you kept it for a year and you did this and you did that and you sold it and, you wanted to recoup and do like, we made it like, but of course it was always in the back of our head. I won't get back into community housing. Like I know no matter what happens to me right now, even though I have a great job, I have a night job, a day job, I make money, I have savings, like,
safety.
It just, the safety kept her and held her back. And it happens so often everywhere in life. But to see that you'd rather lose the $25,000 than, which is a quarter of what she was putting down, right?
Well, it reminds me of that. There's a saying: a ship at harbor is safe, but is that what it was designed for?
Yeah, no, it's a sail,
right? But man, that one is.
That's what we're up against. Like you're talking about the hustle culture, and you're talking about survival and being the first to do things. It's
that mentality. And kind of going back to the hustle culture I'm not trying to get at anybody here, so easy on me in the comments. But like, so you're talking about people just focusing on just making money versus actually building wealth. I was kind of having this conversation with a bunch of people about like, listen, I respect the ladies out there doing the foot picks, trying to get their money up and get them out. But and like, as a community, when we do these type of things, are we taking that money and actually building true wealth? Are we going to go take that money and buy wealth? Or is it just like you said, fast money? Okay, I'm making 10 grand, 15, 20 grand, 30 grand. Like I'm not going to knock your hustle if that's where you are in your position in life right now, because we've all come from various places. Yeah. But like, what are we going to do with those funds?
I don't know, like that part, right? That's the highlight of the convo is what are we going to do with those funds? Because there's people doing everything out there. You know what I mean? There's a little bit of everything everywhere. So I don't knock anyone's hustle. Not everything's my taste. But I see, and I have had clients from all walks of life, and they come to me, and I'm just like, just make sure that we're putting it in an account. You can't do much with cash. Cash is king, but in this case, you can't come to me with thousands of dollars and want to buy a house. We have to circulate it. We got to put it through the banks. We got to do things. You know what I mean? And I think it's just, what are we doing with our money? You know what I mean? And sometimes it takes a conversation to reflect, like, you made this much last year. Yeah. You paid this much in rent in the last 2, 5, 10, 20 years. Yeah. Like you could own this times that. And then it takes, again, rewiring that relationship with money.
100%.
Like, are we going to go, do you have your dream house as your phone saver, as your phone screen? Have you gone out to look at houses? Have you seen what they're going for, what they're selling for? I tell people that they're probably not going to buy a house this year or next year. Maybe it'll take them 5 years. I say start looking at homes, because now you're going to start getting the lingo. You're going to start seeing the flow. You're going to start seeing, oh, that house sold for that in 2025 and it's selling for this in 2026. Oh, just because they listed it for this doesn't mean it's going to sell for this. This neighborhood sell. Like, I'm not asking y'all to become a realtor, but the more you know, the more empowered you feel, and the more likely it's going to happen for you.
Absolutely. And the more comfortable they get with that. While we're on the topic of real estate, you mentioned in one of your videos you did a while ago where you shared your story. Love the Black Panther outfit, by the way. Yeah. You talked about redlining. And I bring that up because, at least I know for me, when I hear redlining, I think mostly about the U.S. But you said in that video that redlining actually happens here in Ontario and Toronto, GTA specifically. So how does that show up here in this market? And what are some other forms of discrimination that you've seen your clients go through?
Yeah. So to be like, just to say it properly, like redlining and specifically redlining, like redlining on the map doesn't happen here in Canada, but discrimination shows up in so many ways. And sometimes, and I think it's become more subtle, but it's still there just as much now. It's unfortunate. I see it almost every day. But it doesn't come up as like, hey, you're not going to get that house because you're Black. It's, you know what, we're still considering, or we've decided on another offer. Or for landlords and tenants, it's, you know, before even seeing the financials, it's we're going to pass, or, you know, we're looking for a certain ethnicity or accent or last name, or, you know, now even I see that, you know, certain landlords won't even take tenants that eat meat. For example, they're looking for vegetarians. Yeah.
And they can do that legally?
Not really. But, you know, some people are just being more transparent with what they want, I guess.
Right.
And it's sad and it's unfortunate. You know, I came into this industry to serve my community, like to serve everybody and help everybody. But I've become a agent that, you know, I, for the most part, represent the marginalized communities. And it's tough to see these things happen because, for one, you know, the obvious. But two, I think it's not just about us not being able to get the house. It's not getting the access, because a lot of these, you know, nice homes, and I'm not saying that we're not getting the nice homes, but in the examples and in the circumstances where my clients aren't able to get into certain neighborhoods, for example, which happens all the time, it means now we don't have access to those schools. Now we don't have access to that particular healthcare, that particular doctor, that particular hospital, or that particular whatever that region is getting. We now don't have access to that. And we all know, as we pay our taxes in the higher areas with the higher taxes, are getting the better schools and the better, you know, support, whether it be, you know, police, ambulance, fire. We're not getting that access. And now our children, you know, we have to fight for them to get that. It's a ripple effect that we're seeing, right? And it's hard. And I fight, you know, nail and thumb, tooth and thumb for my clients. And I do it proudly. Like I'm very audacious with it. I don't hold back. But we do still see it. And, you know, people will look at me and say, oh, it has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do. But then turn around and say, oh, you're going to door knock with braids in your hair? Oh, that's not professional. That's not a professional hairstyle. So I'm seeing it like agent to agent. It's comfortable conversations and ignorance. And it's just, I'd like to consider myself, like humbly, I'd like to consider myself as a trailblazer. I got into this industry in 2017. And at the time I was one of like the 16, you know, I think it was 16,000 agents within my couple brokerages. And I was like one of like the 4 Black people, let alone like one of the 2 Black women. It was very, very minute. And at that time, we didn't see a lot of, you know, Black realtors prevailing or pushing forward. There's a couple that I could name that are doing amazing, but that's the problem. There's a couple, right? Like there's a handful. Now we're seeing, you know, there's an abundance of Black realtors, and I love it. It's amazing. But it should never be, I don't feel like it should ever be like, oh, I get to do a deal with another Black realtor, like I get a break. Or, you know, and other races shouldn't feel that way either. I feel like it should just be an even playing field. Everybody should, you know, be wanting to work together and win. And honestly, it sucks. It sucks. I see it all the time.
No, I've seen it come up, and I'm going to ask you: is there any way to kind of combat that, like from a client standpoint? Is there what can a client do if they feel like they're experiencing that?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked, because honestly, knowledge is power, and transparency is power, and documentation is power in these situations. So we're documenting everything. And we're knowledgeable. Like if the more you know your rights, the more you can kind of combat, right? Now there's always going to be an agent or a situation where it's like, it just doesn't matter. Like that's wrong and they're doing wrong and it's wrong and it is what it is. But the more you know and the more professional and integral you are, the better you'll be, and as well with the representation that you have. So my clients know that working with me, my integrity is through the roof. My knowledge is through the roof. My representation is always like 10 steps forward or above. So they have that. Now it's important to have the documentation too, because sometimes it's not always about race. Sometimes you just weren't qualified, and you get the clients or the people or the maybe on the opposing side that are like, yeah, that's racist. And I'm like, no, honestly, like everything is documented. You'll get like the shaky people that don't really document stuff. Everything for me is documented because like, no, it's going to come down to the facts on the paper, right? Not your last name, not when I send your ID or I send my client's ID. Now you don't want to do a deal with me. Like, no, like everything is, so there's been times where I've sent IDs and I black out the picture because why do you need the picture? Why do you need the picture? So there's things like that. And then when that's an issue, it's like, why is that an issue, right? So there's been times where I go right to the office to speak to them face to face because y'all can't do all that craziness when you're talking to my face, right? So there's times when, there's like, but I would say definitely knowledge, like know your stuff.
Yeah.
And that's across the board, not just in real estate. Like know your stuff. Like when you're going to the bank, know your stuff. When you're going to buy a car, know your stuff. When you're going to anything and everything, you got to know your stuff because that knowledge is going to speak louder in spaces where you might feel less thereof because of the color of your skin or your income bracket or whatever. The more you know, and I tell my girls this all the time, and it's not just for my girls, it's for my guys too, but I say because obviously as women, like I think we get taken for a little bit more when we're in these situations, but negotiating your wage, negotiating that rate for that car, negotiate like all these stuff. Like you got to know your stuff. You got to walk in there like I got good credit because I know my stuff. Like you can't talk to me like that. Like I got good credit. Like what do you mean, right?
Yeah.
So knowledge definitely, financial literacy definitely, documenting and then being transparent. If you are expecting respect, you got to give respect. Like you can't expect to come into a situation ignorant, like you're coming after me and then expect the respect. You know what I mean? We have to treat others how we want to be treated.
No, I definitely agree with that. There's something you said earlier about, being a real estate agent. You kind of like, you're all things, right? You're this multi-hyphenate, you're this mentor, this coach, this, that. So is there like a crazy story? Do you have like a crazy story you could share? I bring that up because I have two friends that are realtors, and one of them, like, they had just when Airbnb properties were really popular. He had a tenant in one of his Airbnb properties, and for some reason, guy wouldn't leave. So he showed up. The guy wasn't there. So I'm not promoting this. He took the guy's duffel bag that was in his property that wouldn't leave, and in there was like drugs.
Oh my God.
High-level drugs, right? But that got that guy's attention. I had another real estate friend where they were renting out a property, and the girlfriend of the girlfriend called and said, "Hey, they threw my boyfriend off the balcony." Right? Like these are some random, because I think you're just involved in people's lives, right? It's not just transactional. And for myself, when me and my mom had an investment property years ago, I unfortunately started to get domestic abuse calls from the police officers, right? And so, you get pulled into these, it's never just transactional. You can, because you're dealing with people's lives, you get pulled into these different situations. So I'm wondering if you have like a crazy real estate story or experience.
Those are crazy stories too. But you know what's so funny? It's like, every day is crazy. Like I'm like trying to think of one and I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like it's just an everyday story. Like they're every day. I guess I'll tell one, it wasn't too long ago. I had a seller and we were like ready to sell the property, get it on the market. And we had, actually this one particular was a while ago. I'll tell this one. So we were getting it on the market. And she wasn't able to get into, it was tenanted, and she wasn't able to get in to see the tenants for whatever reason. And then what had happened was, unfortunately, one of the tenants, there was one tenant on title, and then on the lease, and then his girlfriend had moved in or whatever.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately the one tenant passed away.
Oh wow.
So then the girlfriend, she had to leave because she's not on the lease.
Right.
And we were getting ready to sell it. We had the upstairs, we were in there with that tenant, but we couldn't get into the basement. And then when we got into the basement, it was insane, what they did to the property. They took the bathtub out of the bathroom. They tore up the place. I've never seen a place look so crazy. Like there was obviously some substance abuse and things going
Yeah.
on, but I had never like taken the bathtub out of the wall, out of the place. Like they had, I don't know what was happening, like what was going on. That was insane because I'm literally like, when, how, why, you know?
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know. I've had all those stories where like people won't leave.
Oh yeah.
You know what? My craziest stories actually come from working with other agents, like the crazy things that they do. I'm like, you are crazy. Like I had somebody doing an inspection on one of my property and they totally dug up the sub pump. And at first they couldn't find it. So they dug holes all throughout the backyard, like the inspector. I'm like, why would you guys do that? Literally the whole backyard was dug out.
That's
I'm like,
crazy.
This is crazy. Like, but yeah, I think people think as realtors, like we just show up on closing day, but we are literally the glue the whole time, the glue. So from the beginning to the end, and anything that goes wrong, it doesn't matter if it's with the lawyer, the other agent, the tenant, the landlord, or whoever. It doesn't matter if it's with the mortgage. It's our fault. It's always our fault. Yeah, it's always our fault, or we have to solve it. We have to fix it. So if you're a high producing agent like myself, you have like 10 going on at once, and it's just like, woo, a lot going on. So you just you find out you start to just like live your life kind of like lightheaded, like you're just like, okay, like nothing can stop me.
Just rolling with it.
But because of that, it's so important. Like if you have realtor friends that you do, is like have grace for them and ask them how they are often. And sometimes my phone will die, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, like what?" I'm like, "No, it's dead. It's dead." Like I'm now at the point in my career where I'm like, I'm not having heart attacks when my phone dies anymore. I'm like, it's dead. It's fine.
So speaking of that, you said you guys are the glue. Why do you feel like? 'Cause sometimes when I go on these like blogs where they're talking about something about real estate or maybe a realtor, it feels like sometimes there's like some negative sentiment towards real estate agents. Why do you feel like that's overblown? Do you feel like it's warranted? Like, how do you feel about that?
I mean, there are definitely some realtors that put commission before clients, like 100%. And it's unfortunate. I see it all the time. I work with them all the time. And I'm like, you suck. Like, why would you do that? Or, you know, why can't I get in to see the property? Like, you have it listed. Like, my client really likes it. So now I look like I can't get my client into your property, or I look like I'm not doing my due diligence, but you're not having the, and then I don't like sharing that information with my client. Like the agent isn't like, because they're like,
why?
Okay. Yeah. No, sometimes my clients don't care. Like they're like, okay, so I can't see the property. Like they're like, so I can't go see it, or so we can't put it in an offer, or so blah, blah, blah. So sometimes it's working with like inadequate agents. But also, you know, I personally think, and I'm so sorry to say this, but I think that there's more bad agents than good agents. I just really feel that way. I feel like there's more bad agents. If you get a group of people together, there's more people that just got a license. They do a couple deals a year. They don't really know how to negotiate and manage. If you put me next to somebody else, and this is not putting me on a high horse, it's just let's just say if you put an experienced good agent next to an agent that does a couple deals a year, it does not mean that agent that does a couple years a year isn't a good agent. It doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It's just if you don't have the experience to work in multiple different markets. I've worked post-COVID, pre-COVID, during COVID. I've worked up, down, all around. Like, you know what I mean? I've worked with families, individuals. Like every deal is different, and it's shaped me and it's given me experience. So I know the calls to make, the things to do, the places to be. I know how to manage. I know when I'm going to spend an extra dollar to alleviate my client, or the mess, or the stress, or you know what, don't worry, I got this. And then I go around and behind their back, I have to do the most to really got this. You know what I mean? So it's like, it takes experience. Like you can't be thrown in the fire and know what to do if you haven't smelled the smoke. You know what I mean? So it's like, we have agents out here that aren't, because obviously production has gone down, transactions have gone down, sales have gone down. So we have agents that are out here, and we also have people that are hiring uncles and aunts and uncles and cousins and sisters and friends because they want to support. And I'm not against that, right? I'm really not. I have a lot to say about it, but I'm not against it. But then they're calling me, asking me how much this and that. And I'm like, you don't do deals. You know what I mean? So it's like if you have an agent that's representing you that doesn't really do deals or bank deals or spend time on mentorship or training, because you could do a couple deals a year, but you're in the field, like you're in the trenches doing your training and whatever. It's not the same, but at least it's something. Then you're just not going to be able to meet the standard. Like it's impossible almost, right? So because of that, I think that we're just, it sucks. And I know that for a fact because so many times I represent clients that are like, you're so much better than the previous agent, or I've never worked with or my sister should have used you every time. Oh my goodness. Like every time. Like, and I've been saying this since I was young, like about everything, but it's those agents that make me look good. Like I don't have to do too much. I said that when I do a lot though. I take that back.
Humbly,
but,
respectfully.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But it's even when I used to serve at the restaurants, at the bars, I was like, y'all make me look good when I don't even do anything. Right. I could be at home on my day off and you make me look good because you're not doing what you need to do or you're not going above and beyond. You know what I mean? So service and client care has always been like number one for me just because of who I am. Like I want people to feel great. And if I can curate any experience, whether it was serving your table or a real estate transaction, it's going to be 100 out of 10 every time.
Right. Now I feel like more people need to hear like the realtor's POV, because I think the reason why I feel like people have some type of animosity or angst towards realtors, because for like 15 years, y'all was winning like crazy. Like y'all went on the
15 years.
It was a gold rush. Y'all was just balling out, driving nice cars, buying bags. And there was a bunch of people that was in their feelings about it. And so now when the market took a hit, you just read some of the sentiment.
We're coming back though.
I know. I know it's coming back. I know.
Get ready because we're coming back.
But I just feel like overall, a lot of them don't see you said something very particular, like when you said you'll tell your client, I got it, and then you'd have to go figure out the roadmap to actually have it. I just don't feel like a lot of people see that part. They just see the end result, the sold sign, top 5%. They see the accolades. They don't see enough of the day-to-day.
Oh, it's so much. Like the day-to-day, like we're calling the lawyers, we're calling the mortgage agents, we're calling the appraisers, we're calling like all the calls and then the callbacks and then the this and then that. And if you want to go see multiple properties and then I'm dealing with the agent, that agent, right? And then like there is so much behind it. And again, I don't want to knock unexperienced realtors. Like I was an unexperienced realtor. It took me time to get my feet wet, right? Like I had to do the stuff. But it's just like, without the experience, you're just not, you could still have a high standard. Okay, I take that back. But it's just, you're not going to be able to do it. Like it takes experience. It takes time. It takes work. You can do it. I don't mean you can't do it, but it takes time and it takes experience. So what I would say to a realtor that's trying to get better, trying to do better is get a mentor. I had a mentor. So even when I wasn't clocking the deals, I was clocking the deals through the experience of my mentor, because I was very much like, let me be a fly on the wall. Let me be the brokest at every table I sit at. Let me be the poorest. Let me be the smallest. Like, let me be in the room. Get me in the room. And I spent the first probably 6 years of my career at every single networking event, every conference, this, that. And that's why I see my young bucks right now and they're out there and people knock on them like, why are you at all the conferences? I'm like, because they're getting their feet wet. They're out there. They're networking. The amount of realtors I've met now, it's yes, my performance is definitely my reputation, but it's also getting out there and having conversations. I win in multi offer situations because they're like, oh yeah, I met Sasha. She is a great agent. She holds her head high. So she's bringing me great clients. I don't just represent my clients like because, let me put this right. You come to work with me, it's a two-way street. You got to be a solid person too.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it doesn't mean you have to be solid in the bank account, solid, It just means like, I hold my business to a certain standard. So I know, and other agents know, when I bring an offer, I'm bringing it correct and I'm bringing it good and I'm bringing you something solid. We are going to close. All my deals close, except for that girl. All my deals close. All right? All my deals close. Yeah. So, you can count on a Sasha Vela Realty transaction to close. You can count on a solid offer. You can count on everything's going to be solid. You know what I mean? But I had to get my feet wet. And now people are calling me and I'm so grateful to be my my lead source to be so high in referral rate because I've done the networking. I've gone to the place. I do the podcast. Like, you know what I mean? And this is an honor. Thank you. But it's, you know, I do the free stuff
work.
too. Like I did so much free stuff before. You know what I mean? And I did the work. I put in the reps to build the business. So I hope no one takes it the wrong way when I said that y'all just the experience, you know, maybe you're not meeting the standard, but there are some agents that are just falling short and they don't care to put the love and hustle and heart behind the hustle into their craft. So when they show up to do a couple deals a year, they're just chasing the commission and not putting the client first. There's been times where like I've had to lose money to make money in the future. Like there's been times where I've had to be like, that's not my fault, but I'm putting up the money to solve the problem because blah, blah, blah. There's been times where my clients are so amazing. And then for whatever reason, they just turn into like crazy people and I have to calm them down and coach them through and figure it out and resolve the issues so that, you know, of course we close, that's not the issue, but that they're, you know, keeping it together. Like there's been times where, you know, they said to me like, oh, I didn't agree to pay for that. And I'm like, it's here on the contract. You told them that you'd pay for that. And they're like, this just happened this year. Oh, I didn't agree to repurpose the cabinets. It's right here. You signed on it. Well, I didn't know that. Well, we talked about it. Okay. All right. Well, I'm not doing it. Okay. Who paid for that? Is the deal not going to go through or am I going to pay for it? Right. And it's not always, the solution is not always Sasha's going to pay for it. But 9 out of 10 times, it's 10 out of 10 times, Sasha's going to solve the problem. And sometimes that happens to be out of my pocket.
Yeah. No, I respect that. Listen. For the folks that thought she was just
Did
a pretty face.
Yeah,
No, you just, listen.
I'm venting. I'm hot.
Felt like you needed that a little bit. You need a little, I was like, get it off your chest, girl. Get it off your chest.
For real. You know what I mean? So,
all right.
Yeah. And one thing I want to say
go
too
ahead.
is like, I think everyone thinks we're rich.
Everyone
Everyone thinks
part.
we're rich. Like, oh, yes, I drive a nice car. I love my car. Yes, I have nice things. Yes. But like, it costs a lot to be a realtor too.
No, you're absolutely right. And I also
investment.
noticed something too, because I had this conversation with Joe. It's like, I think sometimes, you know, some people might feel like, oh, there's some, you know, the pretty girl privilege, and they might say that, oh, it's only because she's that, not understanding all the things that you just said, all the work that you put in, the fact that you have a mentor, the fact that you do these things for free, that you show up to the events and all this stuff like that.
And can we talk about that for a
Yeah,
second?
go
Because
ahead.
okay, how do I find a balance in that? Because yes, there is a privilege to being pretty and being good looking, men, women.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a privilege associated with that. But sometimes, believe it or not, I'm like, oh, like this is not a privilege. Or I view it as like, you know, I put my open house sign up and I'm getting all these randoms that don't want to buy a house. Like, that's not fun. There's been so many times where I'm like, I want to put an ad up. I don't want to put my face because, you know, and I hope this doesn't sound vain. Like, I hope people get what I'm trying to say, but people just think, oh, you're pretty, so you sell. There was one thing, and I'm a daddy's girl, so I was raised in an environment to love myself and to respect myself. And going into this business, I knew that I never, ever, ever wanted to be viewed as a woman that was successful for anything else other than my mind, my heart, my hustle. Okay? That's it. Like, I don't want it to be, oh, you're pretty, or oh, you're doing this, or you're doing. Never. And that was one of the things, like, I think we all have these things that, like, you know, are like, you know, have to haves or whatever.
Yeah.
That was one that was like, that's not being shaken in my business. So I think as women in business, especially sales, it's very important how we carry ourselves. Like, men don't think I'm flirting with them because I'm not. Like, it's just very simple. Even if I liked somebody, like,
keeping
that's
that line.
something else.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, there's no mixed signals. And I think there needs to be a whole class for that because, you know, it's very important. Men too. I'm not even going to be sexist right now. Men too. Women and men. Like, I think that especially as a good look, and some are going to get this, some aren't, okay? That's just what it is. But some are going to get it, some aren't. But as a good looking individual, you also have to, like, additionally invest in knowing how to carry yourself because you don't want to be taken the wrong way. And in sales and in real estate, that has been something too. Like, I've had to, like, my clients will never lose, but it's just, I don't mean it like that, but I just mean there's been times where it's like, you know, it's not a loss, but someone could see it as a loss, but I don't see it as a loss because it's disrespectful or it's not aligned. And I'm like, no, like we're not going to go for that deal, or, oh no, we're not going to like that's not happening. You know what I mean? So I think that, do you know what I'm saying? Where I'm going with this? Yeah. So the whole pretty privilege, it's real, but it's also like a whole nother battle.
No, I get it because I've heard Joe talk about it, especially like if you're dealing with a client where, let's say they're in a relationship as a couple, but the man is leading the transaction, she will always make sure the wife is involved because she's that dynamic. It's easy to perceive it in a negative way, right? So I know there's things that you guys have to do to kind of manage the perception of how it could be seen. So I get that.
And I'm glad that she shares that with you because that is a successful agent, somebody that can recognize that and then manage it. And I think that's one of my best traits is being able to, because there's so many different dynamics. Sometimes you're dealing with a divorcing couple. I've had that so many times and they're not even talking. And how are you supposed to get the deal done? Sometimes they live in the same house. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes you got to get 18 different signatures on a document because everyone lives everywhere, or there's an estate sale or this or that. So it's not black and white. It's far from it.
Yeah. Right. So as we get close to the end here, I want to switch the vibe because we talked business long enough. I want to ask you a pop culture question. So this is something new. You're going to be the first to experience this here.
Okay.
So I pull something from Threads, IG Threads. Not sure if you're on there. And the question or the comment was regarding Young Miami's song, Spend That. Not sure if you're familiar. Okay. A guy said, I'm tired of y'all saying Young Miami Spend That is a low vibrational song when y'all were listening to Kaya, My Neck, My Back, and Pretty Ricky back in the day. Y'all just hate on her, and that's okay. The selective outrage is very dumb. How do you feel about that?
Selective outrage.
Can you separate the artist from the music, and how do you feel about messaging in songs like that?
I think that like artists are that. They're artists. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think that like that is another world. Like we are just listening to your music and whatever you put out there is going to represent who you are to us. Is it our job to do a deep dive and figure out where you came from, where you were raised, all that stuff to find out if you're a good person or not? I don't know. I just think that if you're going to choose to have those lyrics and sing those songs, that's going to represent you one way or shape or form. So that's something that you're going to take on. Now, in terms of, you know, throwing it back to the throwbacks versus today's day and age, I do feel like today's secular music is just, you know what it is? It's okay. On a secular level, on like a lyrics level, are we saying the same kind of like derogatory things? Yes. Mm-hmm. But I feel like back in the day, at least there was more talent.
Fair
I feel
point.
like there's more talent and more in the production, in the beats, and the artistry. Whereas today it's like you just slap something together and then it's bad lyrics. So it's like, like times 10.
It's double negative. I get you.
I've switched my like music like preference. I don't listen to that stuff, but I think that you know what I mean? Like it's just I'll hear it. Like I see, like, you know, I'm still hear stuff and hear it, but
so Sasha's
it's hard to rock with that.
So like, Sasha's out of the event. You're not dancing to that.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No, and it's also like, yeah.
No, it's hard because my take is like, I can separate the music from the person, but like I have troubles with that song because one, it's spreading a bad message, but I'm also a person at like I'm old enough to delineate between this is art versus I'm not going to do that. But there are people that are in very vulnerable situations where like scamming might be a temporary solution to their immediate problem. So I can understand how those folks, they could gravitate towards that and take the art and make it real life, right? And that's how I kind of feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, like the lyric, like it's a little crazy because it's like it's straight up, man.
Oh, there's no hide.
Straight up. Yeah,
like,
it's just like.
And then there was this. I don't know if you saw. There was a story about a mom and daughter. They actually went and did that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the part for me right now. Is like I'm a mom now, so it's like I'm also like it's very less like it's not easy for me to be like like singing along and being like Sunday. Like it's like it's kind of like oh wow like you know.
No, I got that. All right, so I'm gonna give you this right here.
Okay, cool.
My little game I came up with a while back. I kind of
this is your game actually.
Yeah, I kind of rigged the deck a little bit because I have like 100 questions. So out of this, I want you to just pick 3 cards, any 3 cards, anywhere that's left in there, and I kind of give you the backstory behind it. So we talked about a lot about the stories you talk with yourself, the conversations you have with yourself, and I understood that a lot of us don't know how to have positive, constructive conversations with ourselves. I even go as far as saying that. We've cheated ourselves out of opportunities, whether you see a nice person that you wanted to talk to and you got kind of shy and scared, or whether you're in a boardroom and they're asking for ideas, input, and you're like, oh, if I say it's going to sound stupid, and then only to hear somebody else say exactly what you're going to say and get credit for it. I've been that person.
Yeah.
So I came up with this card game that's to help people to have positive, constructive conversations with themselves. So we've got 3 cards, and we're both going to answer this. So tell me what the first one is.
Okay, when was the last time you called yourself out on your bullshit? What bullshit would you like to call you out now? You want me to go first?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I don't know. Mine's not very exciting, but I would say there are certain things in my business that I need to do that I haven't been doing and like for a long time. Like, just certain things with certain systems that I'm running. And it's like, why? So one thing that I always ask myself is I'm like, what do I need to do that I'm not doing? And there's always an answer. And it's like, it's annoying because day will go day over day and I'm not doing it. So for me, my business is still running, but I think I'm working harder than I need to because I haven't implemented some systems that I need to do.
That's
really
a good one. For me, I don't know why I do this, but I have a natural knack for being a contrarian.
Okay.
Because I like to see sometimes how much you believe in what you're saying, but sometimes it's like I don't need to take that position. But like in my time off when I'm talking with my guys, they'll say something and I agree with it, but I'll find the opposing argument to it, and then sometimes it doesn't need to be that. If you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. I hear you. Okay.
I mean, because
I'm like, because you know what?
Because you know what?
Perspective.
Because you know what? It's like I should have been on a debate team in high school and college, and I never was. And it's kind of like a sport to me. But sometimes it could be a little too much. Okay. And so I call myself out on that.
Okay. I know that guy. We all know that guy.
I feel so judged right now.
No, because I'm also like like an advocate, I don't like to use the word devil's advocate, but I'm also like the person that likes to help people see things from other sides.
Right.
But I know the person that goes too far. So if you're talking like this, like if you're calling yourself out, then I know that guy. Okay, this is a good one. When you are no longer here, how do you want to be remembered?
I can go first. I want to be known for a person that was true to his word, and that a person that inspired others, whether through his actions or through the things that I've shared, whether it's having people like you on the podcast. Because one of the things that keeps me going with the pod is when I get messages about, oh, what Sasha said, oh my God, I needed to hear that at this moment. I'm going through it right now. So I just want to be remembered as a person that was impactful in some way, shape, or form. Someone that perhaps inspired you in some way, shape, or form. Those are one of the things I'd like to be remembered for.
That's so good.
Thank you.
And I think you're doing that.
Thank you.
Look at you. It's not easy putting this stuff together.
Yes.
Yeah. And just that little bit of your story that you've shared, I'm like, holy, like you're not sharing little, you're like running a 20K marathon, when I lived in New York. Like that's good. That's really good. Good stuff. I want to be remembered for when you are no longer here. How do you want to be remembered? I want to be remembered for my mindset. I think a lot of people are like, or not. I don't want to be remembered for my mindset, but I want to be remembered for the impact that I had on your mindset, whoever that is. I want them to be like, wow, Sasha made me think like this. Wow, Sasha changed my perspective on this. Wow, Sasha had me thinking of this. I say this because Sasha once said that. Like, I want to impact people on a way where, like, my mindset or what I said from my mind was like profound, and they're like, wow. So there's this one time I'm one of the co-founders of a nonprofit called United Scarborough Initiative, where we help mentor youth in Scarborough.
Right.
And we do, a lot of different programs with them and whatnot. And there was one time we were shooting for the launch, we were shooting like a video, like a marketing video for the launch. And we were like, we were walking, and the first take, I was like, what did I say? I was like, hey guys, you don't want to miss it. We are about to change the face of the planet or face of the earth. And then my one of the co-founders, my business partner, Ian, looks at me and he goes, the face of the earth. And then Earl, who was taping it, another co-founder, is like, oh, haha. And we were all laughing, right? And I was even laughing. But then like it became this thing where it was like, yeah, no, like I want to change the face of the earth. Yeah. And then now I say things all the time. Like I go and I speak to young girls and I'm like, I want to change the world. And then I started saying like, I want to do this. Like, so earlier when I said to you, like, get used to it. Cause like I say things like that. Like people are like, but because I say it so humbly, because I say it so confidently, because I say it so nonchalant, people are like, okay. And I'm normalizing it in their world. And I want other people to have that perspective. I want them to be like, I want to change the world. I want everyone to want to change the world. That should be your goal. That's my goal. I want to change the world. And I want to do that by making it normal to say things like, I'm going to do that. Or like, no matter what people, if someone does it, I can do it. I'm amazing at what I do and I'm going to be the greatest. Or I don't know. Like whatever you feel like is crazy, say it and do it.
Amen to that. I love that. I love that. So
say it and do
what's
it.
our next question?
I kind of cheated and I went through a couple, but what are you holding on to that could be holding you back?
Ooh, that's a good one. You go first.
That's a good one.
Give me some time to think.
Okay. So I don't know. This just came to my mind, but I think, Okay. I think I am a little bit of a perfectionist in some things. And I think that's holding me back. A lot of times, and you said you made note to this a couple times where you're like, someone else is doing this or someone else is doing that, whether it be your friend group or strangers or Instagram. But I think a lot of times people, it's a speed thing. So it's like you have a thought, you have an idea, and because you're trying to make it perfect, you've delayed it. When the next person beside you is doing it and they're not doing it better, but they're more successful at it because they just went and did it.
Yeah.
When you could just be going and doing things. So for me, I think I have a million tabs open and a million ideas, and I execute on probably 500,000 when the other 500,000 could be executed, because I am an executor, but the other ones could be executed. If I did it, I could be a million out of a million if I didn't wait to be perfect at so many things.
Right.
And that perfect is unachievable. It's just in my head, I'm playing with myself like, oh no, I got to perfect this. Now, don't get me wrong. Perfection really lies in the preparation.
Right.
You have to prepare. I think that's what really helps you win the race.
Right.
Like, for example, your marathon, you're not, it's not first place. It's about the preparation. Did you prepare, right? The more you prepare, that's how you win. And I think that's what's holding me back. I'm trying to perfect a lot of things. And when I could just do it and figure it out.
No, that's a really good one. I think for me, there's two things that come to mind. One is, I think I with certain folks, I temper too much what the reality is because I'm preserving their feelings, so to speak. 'Cause I'm very conscious, especially like the male female dynamic is very interesting now, especially in our society. Even when I was going through my issue with my tenant a while back, I had to be very careful, like, because if you had taken her face and my face and you put it on a screen without any context, it'd be easy to see me as the bad person in that situation, just based on how our society is. But I think I overkill that, and I'm an overthinker, and that game was designed for overthinkers. So I think in certain scenarios like that, I might overthink it too much. And the other thing I'll mention is, being a high achiever, which you can relate to, I sometimes overstack my day too much. I'm so confident in my ability. And then I'm like, oh, I only got 50% done. I was only 50% successful. No, bro, you had 8 things on here. It wasn't possible to begin with, So I've that's a habit that I'm still working through. I'd be like, I had to learn how to say no to certain things because I went through a season where I said yes to everything. Because
preaching to me.
That's it.
Me. That's good though, because thank you for that, because that's a me issue too. I think something that I was told early, and I tell a lot of people too, is that if you only have 40% today and you give it 40%, you gave it 100.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's all about perspective. But I overstack too, and then I get down on myself because I'm like, exactly what you said. I'm like, no, wait, it was impossible to get it all done. So that's 100%. Good. I needed to hear that.
100%. So, Sasha, as we wrap up, any final thoughts, words for that person that might be in the thick of it right now? They're going through a difficult moment, hardship, stuck. If you could give that person any parting words, what would that be?
You did it before and you're going to do it again. You got through it before and you're going to get through it again. It's temporary. And who do you get to become because of whatever you're going through? Who are you becoming? How are you being pruned? How are you being stretched? What are you learning? What are you gaining? How are you going to help somebody else get through this? Listen, nobody has the exact story I have, the exact story you have, the exact story you have, but we've gone through it for a reason, to help others get through it. So be vulnerable. Once you do get out on the other side, which you will, be vulnerable and share it, because you don't know how many people you're helping with your story. And I think that's what really helped me elevate, honestly, is just sharing and being more vulnerable and being more human to those who thought, oh, Sasha's got it all together. She got the money, she got the career, she's a realtor, whatever, right? So whatever you're going through, it's for a reason, and lean into it. Too many times I think we lean away. Lean into it. Feel the full experience of the pain, of the break, of the heartache, right? And the most beautiful part about breaking is that you get to pick and choose what pieces you pick up and how you rebuild it and how you reform it and who you get to become, right? So God's got you and he loves you.
Pastor Bella, oh my goodness, man. What a word. And there's something you said when you shared your story, and I just almost forgot it. I think we said this on the phone before we spoke, that I try to tell people when they have stories like yours that your story isn't for you, because someone else needs to hear it, because like we both said multiple times throughout this conversation, if you can see somebody else do it, get through it, overcome it, and it's possible, right? Yeah. So your story is not for you. And guys, as you know, I like to end each episode saying this. Sometimes we don't necessarily need to learn anything new. We just need to hear or see that somebody else went through it too. So with that being said, Sasha and myself are out. Peace and love. Until the next time.
Bye, guys. Thank you.